You have a problem? Blame tariffs. That's so freaking stupid, man. Watch this. So I'm reading this article right here from the Realtor.com, not Realtor. Yeah, by the way, they're Ted Westerfield. I think he's the one who said. I think they pronounce it not Bangor. Don't they pronounce it Bangor? Bangor? I don't know. I always thought it was I always call it Bangor, Maine, because I'm not dumb. But I think people in Bangor call it Bangor because they're obviously not that bright. Because us in Portland, us Portlandites, we're smart. Well, actually, are we really that smart? Not who's running the show now. But anyway, yeah, Realtor, Bangor. I don't know. I just always said Realtor, but they say Realtor. You got to put the emphasis on the or. Home builders say tariffs will add nearly $11,000 in cost to each new home. I mean, you see what's happening here? Do you not? They're going to raise prices and blame it on tariffs. Now, this will only work. It's not going to work. I'm telling you right now, because we have a competitive economy. So some home builders say, "Yeah, we're not going to do that." But anyway, just crack me up. Watch this here. Home builders said on average their suppliers have raised their prices by 6.3% in response to announced, enacted, or expected tariffs. That's okay. So announce, enacted, or expected tariffs. Okay. So those we're raising prices. We're going to blame it on announced tariffs. No, not announced tariffs. Expected tariffs. Oh, well, enacted. We don't know, but we're going to raise prices. Give me a break. And we'll see right here. Home builder sentiment since 1985. Weird Al right there is way high. Right there, 2005. Isn't that kind of interesting? Interesting. Down. Interesting. Down. Look how low it is. Yeah, home builder sentiment is way low here. And what simply happened? Home builder sentiment right there. We're in 2000, was that 12 or so? Oh my goodness, home builder sentiment is so low. Oh, they're not going to build any homes. Bullcrap. Anyway, I just had to chuckle this because I want to show you something here. This is the median sales price for new homes, all right, newly constructed homes, the median sales price. Now, we haven't logged this yet. We'll log it. And what has happened since basically the end of World War II? Have we had free trade or tariff trade? Yeah, we've had free trade. So what we'll see here is 17.5 is in 1963 is the median. Median means half the time you have more, half the time you have less. The median is 17.5 in 1963. We scroll all the way up here to 403 in 2025. That's going to be our future value. Hold on a second. The median sales price for homes has gone up by 5.2% a year since 1963. What has inflation been since 1963? Well, we can add that. Let's go, Kurt. Let me go back to my man Daniel Colbert's 55E bucket strategy, and we can see inflation. Boink, you can see it right here. It goes back to We're going to go back to 1963. All right there. Boink, and we're going to go to 2023. Boink, and we're going to see. We're going to cut and paste these inflation rates right here. So hang tight. Here to some of the spreadsheets I'm working on and various graphs and whatnot. You can see lots of work your old buddy Josh is doing. We're going to paste that as paste special, values only. All right, and we're going to come down here. Ooh, screw that up. 1 second. I want to put it there. There we go. Let's go over here. Boink. We're going to paste it over there. Values only. Boink. And then we're going to come down here. And we're going to hit this guy. We're going to say average. All right, and it's going to tell us our average is 3.9. So basically, the price of houses has grown by 1.3% above the average rate of inflation since 1963. But no worries. It's the tariffs that are making the prices that much higher. It's just dumb. And then let's go back into, let's even log this, because it's always better to log it. Log just means it's a percentage over as opposed to just a raw number. So you can see here, so this log doesn't, so basically 40 to 80 is the same as 80 to 160. You don't really see it. So 40 to 80 is 100% increase. 80 to 160 is 100% increase. 160 to 300, 320 is 100% increase. So you can see that massive run right there. Was that free trade? That's because of high inflation. Was that free trade or is that tariff? Massive run right here. Free trade or tariffs? Yeah, so stupid. But let's not stop there. Let's have even more fun, shall we? Follow me on X. You're wrong. Just X. What's my thing? I think it's Scanlon Josh or something like that. Yeah, at Scanlon Josh. And it'll say, if loving the Lord is wrong, I don't want to be right. So you know that's me. Anyway, I only have 732 followers there. So follow me, dude. Don't be stupid. Follow me. Anyway, so here's Reason Magazine. The Peterson Institute for International Economics calculated that the cost of Trump's steel tariff totaled $650,000 per job created. And I debunked that in a video I did here because Reason Magazine just sucks. And then we got this guy right here. Sean Stein, who represents the U.S.-China Business Council, said, starting in a couple weeks, we're just going to start running out of stuff, he says, because of Trump's tariffs and trade wars. And if the administration waits to resolve the problem until we have shortages and hoarding, then it's just too late. And I said, I'm sure he's a very independent analyst. On a side note, Joe Schmo, who represents stadium builders, says a new stadium in Orlando would be great for the economy. That's a good one. Good one, Josh. Pat you on the head. Then Reason Magazine goes on to say, when the imports continue, those costs will be passed along to the consumer. But in many cases, the imports might not happen at all because the tariffs are simply too high. And I say, oh, that's funny. It's either A, consumers pay the whole price, or B, the imports just stop. And I say, So a business that exists to send products to the U.S. just says, nope, we're not going to do that anymore because of Trump's tariffs. So I'm in business to send stuff to the United States, but because of Trump's tariffs, I'm not doing it anymore. Hey, Reason Magazine, what happens to the business then? Let's take a guess. They ship more to who exactly? Singapore? Colombia? Man, it's like shooting fish in a barrel, how easy it is to debunk these guys. And right here, Reason Magazine again. It's amazing to me how shallow the anti-tariff arguments are. Here's from Reason Magazine. For every $100 of clothes, toys, luggage, sporting goods, or household items that arrive on a container ship, an American company must pay $145 to bring those goods into the country. And I said, well, why does no one ask why that $100 price is sacrosanct? Is Reason suggesting that the exporter can't lower that price? That is fixed? And I said, damn, I thought libertarians had a better grasp of basic value and pricing, a la Karl Menger's, reading Karl Menger. And it's obviously my mistake. They don't. So just because a retailer says, or an exporter says, we're going to charge $100, so now we got to pay $145. Where'd you get that $100 to begin with? Was that the cost of labor? How much of a profit markup was that? Now, where was the $100? So that's a non-negotiable, is it not? Non-negotiable. Yeah, the whole thing's just stupid. So, and we know for history that the consumers just don't eat the whole cost. It just doesn't work like that. We know. I mean, come on, man. This is not hard, Reason Magazine and all you anti-tariff people out there. It's just not hard. Your evidence is weak. You're quoting the Peterson Institute, which is just, and the fact that Reason Magazine, I'm just like, oh, really? Well, the Peterson Institute is knee-deep with Cato. I don't know. I highly suspect the Peterson Institute is giving money to Cato Institute, giving money to Reason Magazine to push this anti-American stuff. And as I said before, I'm just going to cite this guy right here, my man James Miller. I follow him on X. It seems like a good guy. PhD, University of Chicago economics. He got a JD from Stanford Law School. So what does he have to say about national sovereignty? I admit it. I don't care that much about national sovereignty. That's the globalist mindset right there. Reason Magazine, the anti-tariff people, they don't give a rat's behind about national sovereignty. They don't. They just want to smoke dope and freaking have this unlimited sex and go crazy like good time plastic banana rock and roll people that they are. I'm just saying, being that silly. I'm not saying that's James Miller. Don't take that. Don't take that out of context. Give me a break. Reason Magazine guys, I think, are like that. I just want to smoke dope, don't pay any taxes. I just want to get jiggy with it as much as I can and have abortions. It's great. I don't care if I'm in America or Thailand or Singapore or wherever I can do it. I just want to get high, man. High. And listen to Jim Morrison and say I'm fighting the state. And I say, well, how about Jim Morrison's dad? How about freaking Laurel Canyon? You're fighting the state, are you not? Reason Magazine? Yeah, dude, 'cause I'm just getting high. Insane. All right, God bless. Smash. See ya.